With the introduction of Yamaha's Genos range of keyboard workstations, the lines between home and professional instruments have become somewhat blurred. In recent times, instruments that used to be firmly associated with home musicians are now becoming popular among professional keyboard players, singer-songwriters, guitarists and studio musicians. Today, Yamaha announced two new lower price instruments that share much of the same technology as the flagship Genos instruments, but are more compact, lightweight and have built-in speakers. Home keyboardists who play for enjoyment will feel comfortable with the familiar layout of the new instruments, because at the heart of the new PSR-SX920 and SX720 keyboards, they'll find one of the best range of musical accompaniment styles money can buy. However, these new models have some technology and features that appeal to musicians who may never have considered investing in an arranger keyboard. These instruments are not only great for home or live performance, but their onboard audio recorders allow you to record external audio sources such as a microphone or guitar, along with the great sounds and backing tracks created by the keyboard. I'm Tony from Bonner's Music, and in this video I'm going to give you a brief overview of Yamaha's new mid-price keyboard range and show you how they can be used by home players, songwriters, recording artists and keyboard players working in a live performance environment. Remember, if you want to see, touch and play these new keyboards, you can visit one of our keyboard stores which are located in Milton Keynes near the M1 motorway or in Eastbourne on the south coast. We also offer part exchange deals on your old keyboard, so get in touch if you want to upgrade to a new PSR-SX series instrument today. Let's start by looking at this keyboard from the point of view from home keyboard players. Traditionally, home players would choose a musical style, pick a sound, split the keyboard to play chords in the lower register and melody in the upper register. The keyboard uses the chords you're playing to create a real-time backing band, making playing keyboards at home an awful lot of fun, just like this. The SX920 model has a total of 575 musical styles, whilst the 720 has 450. Both of these numbers represent 50 more styles than the previous SX series models. Accompaniment styles are made up of 8 virtual musicians, including 2 drum and percussion parts, a bass line and 5 other musicians. What's great about this new range is that up to 4 insert effects are allocated to the music styles, which means that, for example, guitar parts can have distortion or wah effects applied, whilst at the same time the electric piano can have some tremolo and the drums could have compression. So overall this makes the accompaniments sound more realistic and less synthetic than you might have heard from older keyboards. Playing along with automatic accompaniments is so much better than it used to be. The backing styles have so much life and musicality, making you feel like you're playing with a real band. There are several chord recognition modes, including split keyboard, single finger on bass and full keyboard piano mode, where the keyboard can interpret chords wherever you play on the keyboard. There's also a new smart chord mode for musicians who aren't familiar with keyboard chords. Smart chord allows you to pick a key, say E minor, and then all the notes in the lower register will trigger chords within that particular musical scale. Every preset music style has 3 introductions and endings, ranging from a simple 1-bar count in to a 16-bar musical phrase. There are drum fills and breaks, so with some clever button pushing it's easy to create some very convincing backing tracks, which is also useful if you're a guitarist or songwriter, but more of that in a little while. The style dynamics control gives you real-time control over the intensity and volume of the accompaniment styles in real time based on your playing strength. This means that the harder or softer you play on the keys, the louder or quieter the accompaniment will respond, creating a more dynamic and expressive performance. You can also assign the style dynamics to one of the assignable controllers. Both the SX720 and 920 keyboards have 4 multipads, which allow you to fire off additional drum loops, musical phrases or even audio files stored on an external USB stick. Multipads can be used for one-hit percussion shots, or the loops and phrases can be synced to play in time with the accompaniment styles. A feature which I've personally used on Yamaha keyboards for many years is these 4 One Touch Setting buttons, known as OTS for short. The OTS buttons contain 4 combinations of sounds that work nicely with the particular accompaniment style you've selected at the time. So for instance, if I choose the 70s hard rock style, the buttons give me a heavy guitar sound, polysynth, a rock organ, and another heavy guitar sound with some delay on it. If I choose a different style, I've chosen here 90s 8-beat ballad, which sounds like this. It gives me a nice guitar sound. Nice 80s ballad piano, soprano sax, and some strings. So the OTS settings are all set by the factory's keyboard designers, which makes it a quick way to get a great sound from the keyboard. Along with great sounding backing tracks, the SX series keyboards are full of pro quality voices. You can layer 3 voices together simultaneously and have a 4th voice active in the lower part of the split keyboard. The SX920 includes some additional sounds known as super articulation 2 voices, or SA2 for short. Now SA2 voices make your keyboard sound more like an actual acoustic instrument by adding realistic details and responding to how you play the keys. For example, SA2 can recreate the unique way saxophones can glide between notes and produce breathy sounds, or simulate the way that brass instruments can swell in volume and produce different types of attacks based on how they're played. I'd be quite happy to use some of these sounds in a professional environment, so I've put together a quick demo of a few of the voices to give you a flavour of what's possible with these keyboards. If you listen carefully, you'll hear the additional expressive sounds that a super articulation technology adds based on my keyboard playing technique. So now that we've explored a selection of the sounds you'll find in these two keyboards, what about if you want to use them in a live performance situation? Well, the registration feature on the SX720 and 920 makes it easy to store your own sound combinations that can be recorded instantly. After you've set up your sounds, remember you can layer up to 3 voices together and create a keyboard split. This can be stored into one of these 8 buttons on the front panel by pressing the memory button and the button in which you want to store your sound. When you've stored up to 8 sounds into the buttons, you can save these into the internal memory as a bank of sounds which can be recalled quickly during a performance. The number of banks you can store is virtually limitless, and you can also store them on an external USB memory stick if you run out of space, which is very unlikely. The registration memory isn't just for storing sounds though. The memory locations also register which accompaniment style or song you've got selected at the time of storage. So these memories in fact take a snapshot of most of the things you've got selected on the keyboard. This makes them ideal for live performers who need instant access to their settings. Once you've stored a number of registration banks, you can create a playlist to arrange them in order, ready for a live performance. The playlist function is a simple way of organising the sounds you need for a particular gig or performance, so you can move from one song to the next with minimal button pushing. These keyboards have great sounds and backing tracks, but what about if you want to record your performance? The SX720 and 920 keyboards have onboard 16-track MIDI recorders for creating a multi-track performance, or you can use the simple audio recorder to create a WAV or MP3 audio file. In the following example, I'll record a short piece of multi-track music. I begin with recording a basic chord progression using one of the built-in musical styles, and then add a piano, strings and lead line over the top. If you're a guitarist and you need a quick way of making backing tracks, the onboard chord looper lets you play a simple sequence of chords that can be looped and then used to practice or jam over the top. Once you've recorded your chord sequence, you can save it to the keyboard's memory and then experiment with different musical styles to give you more inspiration. Thousands of chord progressions can be saved into the keyboard's internal memory. The SX920 is equipped with Bluetooth audio, which means you can stream audio from your smart device through the instrument's built-in speaker system. This makes it ideal for playing along with backing tracks you've downloaded or with apps like iReal Pro. The audio streamed from your device can be recorded by the SX920 along with the keyboard part and also a mic and a guitar that's plugged into the audio input, making this instrument a full all-in-one recording suite. So that brings me to the end of my brief guide to the new Yamaha SX920 and SX720 keyboard workstations. Both of these models offer great flexibility for all different types of musicians. Whether you play at home for pleasure or need a pro-sounding lightweight instrument for live performance or recording, these keyboards are the ideal choice. You can order yours today from the Bonner's Music website, or better still, come into one of our stores to experience Yamaha keyboard workstations for yourself. If you have any questions about choosing the right keyboard for your needs, please don't hesitate to contact a member of the Bonner's team today. Thanks very much for watching.